Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Keys to Success. What's up? Tonight, I literally have the pleasure of talking to someone that I just respect so deeply. They've become a friend, a coworker. They are one of the most amazing people that I know. We will be talking with costume designer and stylist Pamela Shepard. She is a gem, y'all. And honestly, I can't wait for y'all to see why I love her so much. So let's invite. Oh, cute! Look.
It's the internet. We're
Pam,
doing it. We're doing it.
we
You're
love,
so
baby. We
cute.
love. Shut up. Thank you.
You
Hi.
are,
What's up?
you're
Happy
in
New
the
Year.
70s, but you're somehow also in the 50s. It's both ands.
I've been both. It's
It's
given
great.
like the car wash, but also like United Nude with a little structure. It's like, I had to start on the look because I was nervous. I was just like, Pam's popping back up on the gram. I was like, I know it might give her like a little polka dot fluff. It's giving round, but you giving
I'm
me round the way
sick.
for
I'm
late
sick,
today.
my friend. I'm not 100%. I was like,
Oh no, you don't feel well. I've had a little
I got
congestion
back
too, a
from
little bit.
Maryland
Like,
Monday and I got sick Tuesday. New
mhm.
York is dirty. It's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're germ phobes. Well, first off, everyone, this is the amazing. Y'all heard the intro before. This is Pamela Shepard, a friend, educator,
Mom!
co-worker, mom, literally. Yeah, Pam, you know damn well you all our moms at work. Like you are all our mom. Like you know damn well you be like, what your mother say? You like what your mother say? But honestly, like just like somebody that I respect so much. And when I was doing this, I was just like, Pam, would you be a guest? He was like, you know what? I'm in the space like you said that you were in your yes mode. I was just like,
I'm
listen,
in my
I'm
yes
jumping on
mode.
that.
Thank you so
So
much.
welcome.
I'm happy to have a
Yes,
conversation.
welcome.
Um, yeah.
Yes. Yes, we don't do interviews here. It's interviews. I talk to people that literally can talk back to me and ask me things. And it's just comfortable to have that a rapport when you chat. To start it off, the only question that I always ask people is, how did we meet?
We met on a
Mm-hmm.
pilot called How to Make Love to a
Yep.
Black Woman that I don't think has ever seen the light of day, but that's okay. The work
It
was
never happened.
done,
The work was done.
and Rick was BG costumer.
I don't even really know. Like, yeah, I was working with Paul. So I was definitely one of the costumers, but it just got,
Okay.
yeah, you got to throw your
was
hands.
costume coordinator, which is a giant of a position that I had never done before. And it was remarkably humbling. Beth Gibbs
Yeah.
was the costume designer, and Whitney Kyle was the assistant costume designer. And Beth was like, Pam, you would be an amazing coordinator. And I was like, well, I've never done that before. She was like, you're a Virgo, you're
Good.
organized, you can do it, you know how to do it. And I
You'll
was
figure
like,
it out.
girl, this feels like a lot. And it was a lot. Like I said, it's always
It
humbling
is a
to
lot.
do all the positions so that you can appreciate the work that goes into all the positions. And
Yeah. You respect the person's like day-to-day responsibilities when
deeply.
you are responsible
And
for them.
so I vividly remember having to rep the
100%.
set, and I had to drop off some flowers. And I remember it was something with bridesmaids, and you just standing off in a corner freestyling these crowns. And I
Make it
just
up for
remember
Beth.
being like,
It was crazy. Beth just was like, what, like, we need this, we need a hat for the bridesmaids. And I'm like, we're never just gonna find some bridesmaids hats right now. I was like, can we make them? She was like, do you know how to do that? I was like, yeah. Ran out, we got flowers, got more flowers.
See, I didn't know all that. I didn't even know all of that was a backstory. Again, I'm coordinated,
yeah.
so the girl's coordinating. I'm helping to get stuff together. So I didn't even know all of that had been communicated. And so from my vantage point, it was the perspective of somebody who was getting a job done. So I didn't know you had necessarily been asked to do that job. I just saw.
Yeah, she really did. It was just, Beth was just kind of throwing it out there. And Whitney was trying to figure it out. And I just, you know, I'm over here, I'm ear hustling. I'm like, can we make it? Like, how we going to get there, y'all? How we going to get
thinking, there? Oh, you're a designer. That was the thought. And so, that's how we met.
Yeah. And it was like, it was one of those moments because there was so much chaos going. But even in that first times of meeting, every time you came around, it was peaceful. Every time you came around, there was a smoothness. If you had a question, if I had a question or whatever, like, it was just so smooth. But yes, that's exactly how we met. And I was working with Paul, and then it's just like we built the relationship. How long have you been costume designing?
My first show was in 2017. So let's say 5.5 years. Styling for 16 years. And so making that transition was fluid. A lot of skill sets were transferable. And then there was a lot to be learned, no doubt. The first show I did was The Rundown with Robin Thede. This is the show that she had on BET. This is long before a Black lady sketch show. And it was talk show format. And it was very much Black woman, late night, let's flip these looks. And that was really the premise. The idea was she was, I don't want to say a fashion girl, because it wasn't like we were really trying to do anything outside of create an identity that felt feminine, knowing that the late night format is such a masculine arena, and one that felt true to her.
Yeah, you know, I never even took that into consideration. Like, it is kind of dominated by the guys at night. Like, all of the ladies are daytime. I never even... Yeah, you said that your transition from styling to film was very fluid. It was very simple. I said mine was difficult. Tell me about it. You know, I think mine was difficult. As I look back, the accountability that I take before I explain why I feel like it was difficult, the accountability was that me knowing what I know, I also sometimes assumed that I knew what I didn't. However, there's a language that is extremely similar but completely different in styling and film and television. And all of the information and all of the skills that I would be able to use in styling that I've been using for years, a lot of times coming into film, there's a different chain of command when you're doing with film. And it's like there are more specific responsibilities versus styling is kind of just a team of Indians trying to pull stuff together. So me going over into that lane, I was restricted first, you know, to get into the film, because you got a PA and come up and do all of those kinds of things. But it would be something like the difference between a button-down shirt and a button-front shirt that would make people feel I was novice, while I had all of this skill set. And I think the people in film, they're so protective of their crafts and skills because of the years and time that they put into the labor, that it's like somebody like me, you know, little kid, full of energy. I'm working with all of these celebrities and stars, but film people aren't hyped by stars the way celebrities are. You know, it's not the same. Like, they're like, okay, bitch, you work with so and so. Like, I dress George Clooney. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a different thing, and I think that that's what made my segue just a little bit more difficult. Like, in those teams, you know, like I hadn't found my team or teams. I was just working, and it's just like, you know,
it's
so
interesting
for
because my styling. So I did editorial for 4 seconds, and the girl realized she has to pay rent, and that's the thing. So
I never did
my
editorial.
arena was more so commercials and advertising, and I think that even to listen to you say the difference between, you know, still life styling, editorial styling, to actual film and TV, that whole 360 arena had already been introduced to me, as opposed to just creating imagery for a flat plane, you know, being able to tell a story where we're seeing people at all. 1000%.
Yeah, but it's motion.
So I know that was one thing that I think helped with the fluidity. Also, I never worked with celebrities. Like, I never, I know you did music, I know you did videos, like I know you come from a different world. I was doing Burlington. I was doing
And you know what the crazy thing? People, like, the funny thing is, like, the stylist girls will look at that like, oh, child, she doing Burlington. Burlington is in your mailbox.
Let's talk about
once
it.
a
Let's
week.
talk about it. Let's talk about
Kmart
it.
is in your mailbox once a week.
Clientele that were household names. So give me a good old, you know, Target. Give me a
Macy's, Burlington,
JCPenney.
Target.
Give me, you know, something that's recognizable. Give me a Lysol. Give me a what's in the shelf? What's in the cupboard? What's in the cabinet right now?
Right. And emergency, all of them. It was crazy, but it's true. Like, that disconnect of those worlds and being in all of them is tricky. Because even as I got, like, forward, I used to assist this girl, like, this before I knew union and all that kind of stuff. It really was just work. You know, in between doing, like, music and all of that, it was this lady named Ann Pemberton, and all she did was commercial. Like, that's how I really learned commercial going forward to now where I would be able to stop them. But like you said, we were doing emergency and all of these things, and it's like the whole format is completely different because there's a client involved. There's a product that has to be pushed versus on my side, the product is the talent, you know? So it's just like over there, emergency is a pill, you know? But it's just like they would have metrics of what the temperatures and colors for this region where it airs versus that region where it airs. And I'm like, this is insane. But it is like a bunch of different worlds. All and the
so
same
listening
language,
to you
though,
say, like, moving into production for TV and film, you know, you're moving up a chain. You can start as a PA, you can become a coordinator, you can become a supervisor, you can become a costumer, you can become all these different roles. I think because there were so many cooks in the kitchen for commercials from both client side and agency side, a skill set had been developed to be a clear communicator, but also be able to listen to different people and try to make sure we're on the same page visually.
Yeah, and while also, like, figuring out the needs and all of that kind of stuff. Do you have a now that you've like spread it over, do you have a preference?
I've only done one film. I did my first,
but I kind of loop film and TV into they're very similar in theory. Detail, no, but theory,
really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but I've only done one. So instinctively, I want to say I think I really like film, but I only done one. It was that experience.
Film, the thing, I like film a lot because I'm a
No,
whimsical person.
stop. Not you.
Oh, get out of here. You
No.
know. What? You're like, but in that way, film has this way of seeing a character just the consistency of who they might be or how they are, and I love the escapism of trying to, yes, and like getting to know, like, what would this person eat? How would they cut their bagel? You know, like those nuances of just a person. I think you have so many opportunities in film to kind of play with them and kind of be very thoughtful in the moments that you see them, where the camera is going to be shot. If it's a back shot, you want something with some beautiful, you know, all of those kind of stuff. Whereas though episodic and TV, while you still have characters, you actually more so just have a quick story. And it's like the people that are going to come in, are going to do their thing, but it is very different. And it's like, it's very spread out. And I like how film changes. Like, you'll think a character's going to be this one, but as soon as it's on your radar, everything starts to open up. Like, you'll think polka dots for a girl, and then all of a sudden you won't realize that everything in your world is turning polka dot. You're seeing it everywhere and all that. Yeah, I like that for film. Was there any reason you hadn't done a film, or just that was just the first opportunity came? The first, sure. That was the one where you were like in the South or something, right?
And I mean, I haven't seen it. We don't see it until later this month because it actually will premiere at Sundance, which I'm so excited for. A fellow Sundance film person. I know Nanny got all the critical acclaim last year. 1000%.
That film changed my life. It was amazing. That was, well, the interesting thing is, like, having you as a guest. Eventually I'm going to have Charlize on as a guest, but without knowing, you guys both gave me the first opportunities that I went into more formal union film and television work, like going into like Z-Way, all of those kinds of things, and those kind of opportunities. It gave me a solid, it wasn't just day play work or different things that I had lent myself to. I actually had like a responsibility. Whereas though Charlize did the same thing, while I had styled many things and did films, I now have a formal union project that, you know, and it changes things. I think it changes the way people respect and like look at you. Like, I just made my first post.
And honey, the resume is resumeing, just with regards to the projects that your hands have been a part of. They're special. It's special. They're special.
Yeah, they're really big.
But yeah, your question was, is it because that was the first one I had been asked to do? The answer is yes.
How do you like educating? I know you. I know you. I just wanted to.
I am a teacher. I am a teacher just as much as I'm a student, right? So I think what I love with regards to educating young people is that it's a real exchange that's happening. Okay, I can give you what I got.
They're keeping you fresh.
All this TikTok stuff, and y'all can show me all these popping designers, and y'all can show me all this stuff that's escaping me that your fingers are on the pulse of right now. So,
yeah, and that might not come across our radar.
No. So I love teaching. I used to, she never directly taught me, but we had a really good friendship. I am a graduate of Spelman College. Across the street is Clark Atlanta University. And there is a brilliant professor who was there named Marcia Jones. She is a studio artist. She is a painter. And one thing that she said that just resonated with me. It was like, those are the words. She said, teaching is helping to open a portal. And that's exactly what I feel. Just being
Yeah.
able to be a part of the process of somebody's aha, somebody's curiosity, somebody's maybe. I really, really, really enjoy just sharing information.
Yeah, because it part of the journey is you get to actually go back over all of the stuff that you know that you're just like, oh shit, like I know that, and then you go into the new ways of doing so. How many students is it usually in the
On
classes?
average, my classes are 16 students. On average, my
Okay, so it's
classes are
nice and
16
intimate too.
students. And I think what really put me into the desire to teach is because my background, which I don't think you know, my degree is in computer science and math. And my family, like I come from a family of scientists. I come from a family of
I would have never, ever thought
and
that.
so
yeah.
And so I always loved fashion.
Okay.
But just in the orbit of my world, the house I was born in, just my community, I didn't have an example of how you made a living as a creative. That just wasn't anything that I knew. It never even occurred to me watching commercials that involved somebody's job.
Somebody was getting a job to do that.
Right? And so I think that's a 100% big part of why teaching became so important to me, just to share, because I started with workshops at Studio Museum in Harlem, and that's where the beginnings happened. And then from there, I worked with Free Arts NYC. And then from there, I was invited to speak as a teaching artist at Parsons. And so while there, they were like, you should write a formal curriculum for styling. Like, this is something that students.
No, I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you that. If you had to come up with a curriculum. Yeah. Oh, wow. So you had to literally write out a curriculum of how you would start and how to teach the class. When you're doing that, is there a way that, like, how do you test, like, the deliverable of, like, what a person's getting versus, like, you know what I mean? Like, from the information that you know, how do you...
Two things. You're asking questions that I didn't even know to ask when I was first invited to do this. So a part of the process was me being very transparent that I was clueless to the process. So thinking of who I knew in my arena, people that were principals, people that were teachers, and really just asking them, like, how do you build a curriculum? Googling, researching, how do you build a curriculum? And that being a starting point for me to just begin. And then as it was crafting, as I was crafting it, I would share it just to get feedback. Like, does this seem literally
like you would make your own recipe?
Literally.
Food. Right.
And so then it got to a point where I did the formal submission to Parsons, and they reviewed it. And after a couple months, they were like, yes, we would love to.
That's dope. Yeah. Dope as shit. Because I have a infinite love for teachers. I don't know, like, I think it's just an obsession of information that I have, but also the empathy and the selflessness that goes into teaching, you know, because you can't be hoarders of anything. What you receive and what you give literally gets poured back into someone with the kind of trust of the separation of the information. I don't know what you're going to do with this information. I don't know how you're going to use it. I don't know if you're going to waste it. I don't know if you realize how valuable it is. But I have it today, so here.
To that point, Rick, I kind of I
Come on,
felt
little
that way
ways.
about even sharing it. If I'm being real honest, if I'm being
That's what we do here.
real honest, I felt a
That's what we
way about
real.
sharing the information to the institution because they didn't have it, right? And so
They didn't have it, and it's just like,
I
and you know how
remember
that can
talking
get.
to my dad about it, and I was just like, is this intellectual property? Like, do I own this? How does it work?
Because it's even more than that. It's precious. It's information that we gain through experience, and it's like the shit that a lot of us have is not taught, and that's why they don't have it.
It's true.
So it's like you try to put a
And one
value
thing
on it.
that I think my father said that helped shift my perspective was just kind of like, oh, that's education. Either it's a gift or it's a course that you are selling and teaching. So is it an offering or is this something that you really are trying to, you know, have that's yours? And so that perspective
something
did
that you're
help
trying to
me
space
with
out.
regards to like, yes, this is an offering. I have really enjoyed my students at Parsons, and I've been observant of the demographic of my students. And so earlier today, when you were like, you know, during pandemic, that's when I started Key to Success and working in this medium. That's when I started to just really offer my class for free because it, again, starting Studio Museum, going to Free Arts in NYC, my students were, I could see myself in the room, essentially, is what I'm saying. And so when that started to shift, being part-time faculty at this lovely institution, it's been work for me to be intentional about making sure in other ways I'm still able to take the time to share this information.
Yeah. It's a really important like difference. It's a really interesting space because it is one of the infinite things I love because it is a selfless act. You know, like your dad said, it's either an offering that you are literally given, and it's like that part because of the information that we come across. Yeah, I know people that are formally taught. Like I'm not formally taught in most of my things. I am literally the product of experience and, you know, just influence and culture and all of that kind of stuff. But formally,
but you were at the party,
you
that
know,
we're
so
referencing.
That's how it always works. That's how it always works. I literally have friends that got into styling and literally did the PR. They worked at the marketing firms. They interned at designers and things of that nature. I just became a celebrity stylist assistant and was in that different realm. While they are going straight up the ladder like this, my journey's kind of coming like this. When everything goes wrong, we both end up at the same conversation. I'm literally being told I got the job because this person's leaving and knows me versus them having to interview. And it became different. Now the flip is, in times if I ever am out of that roster, it's really hard for me to get back in without connection of reach across the rope. It's harder. That's why I literally had just made my first purse on like LL, just because in my opinion, I was just like, I'm never gonna get jobs. I mean, you know, I see them all the time. We get the emails, and I'm like, I never really felt like it worked like that. You know, like people are gonna reach out. It's like people bring their girls, they have their teams. I always felt like, you know, you got to get with the team and all of that kind of stuff to learn. But I was like, just took a different route just so that in conversation I can talk about the things that I've done because I can speak to them honestly. You know, it's a different thing versus aspirationally because I have not tackled them yet. I've only been taught to. And I think that that's why like our information that we have is so precious because it's like a lot of times we get information that we had to solve something and it becomes ours. You know, it's just like, I know how to do this because I've had to do that before. And that's like a priceless little thing that solves something that now you share with somebody else that then can take it and go on, but it has no value, no monetary reward, or no
Ultimately,
value
it does,
to it.
though.
So it could be tricky.
Ultimately, it does.
Yeah, in the long run, it
but
does.
listening to you talk about people who worked in this very lateral way with regards to the movement and progression of their career, and how you've moved in this way in the progression of your career. When I moved here at 22, that's something that was very clear. Like, oh, there are kids here who have been doing this since 17 years old. Oh, so we're up for the same position. Oh,
same job.
Their credentials and my credentials, we neck and neck just off of what we've been exposed to and what we've done. And so I think it was really a quick learn with regards to, with this work, the hands-on work, less about where you went to school and what your degree is, more about
not gonna help you right now.
Where have you actually been doing
it's not
the
gonna
work?
Help you right
and
now.
So that's something that I had to, shift my mind for once I got here.
Yeah, my biggest jobs, some of my biggest jobs or biggest positions that I had literally had no pre-position that led me into them. I either was the assistant to the person that had the job and segued right into it as the director or the lead, or, you know what I mean? I was always somewhere where it was a referral. It was never a issue of me saying, hey, this sounds interesting. How can I did this, so this would be the next step. Everything is like, I can figure this out. You know, it was like, but it was tricky. It was different. Do you feel like,
my first live ever? A good old Abbott Elementary.
Right, like, does everybody know that this is Pam's first live? This is Pam's first live.
Grandma gotta catch up, you know? She gotta catch up.
Mind you, now, as soon as you do this one night now, you can always go see Pamela Shepard live. There's gonna be Chatty McChattenstein.
You know what it is? I feel like
I used to be anti-live, John. I can't do it.
I'm not the social media girl. Like, honestly, Rick, if I could hire somebody to handle this for me, which I can, I just need to find that person to do it. That would be my preference. Instagram used to be so low stakes and fun. There was a moment where Instagram and Tumblr were very neck and neck when it came to, girl, I've only done one myself. More like maybe.
Oh my God, I fucking Chanel James. Yo, I fucking love you. Thanks for coming on the show. That's dope as shit. Your little tasty ass. Yo, I fucking love her. She dope as shit.
She is a talented woman.
Very talented.
I think in my
Congratulations
mind, I make things bigger than what it is, basically. And I am a behind the scenes girl.
It's an innate Virgo.
Is it generational too? No, it's not generational, Rick, because you
I wouldn't say generational.
Are really good at social, and you are very good at being a content creator and putting yourself forward. I just
You know what it is? I'm great at the business of show.
You are.
I'm good at that. But in the idea of it, it's a whole different aspect of like who I am as a person. And I think that like when people actually get to know me, they're kind of shocked. They're just like, I'm either like really, really here or the complete opposite. But the Virgo in us, I think we are behind the scenes people. We try to, we want to know the
like
bones of it and how it works.
Behind the scenes. Like, I'm in the back of the picture, like
1996. I'm coming in like, can't you see?
You don't get what I'm saying. You don't get what I'm saying.
Like, there was no behind the scenes.
1996 behind the scenes is
Oh,
truly
you talking like
behind the
flip phone, no
scenes
social
versus
media, no
now.
nothing.
Oh,
You
child.
was
Oh,
DL.
we got the content.
You miss
I
being
miss being DL.
DL. You miss being
I
DL.
do.
It's it's tricky because it's like when I say that, yeah, I can do the content and stuff like that. I know that I'm good at that. I'm actually very bad at sharing me. You know, that's the funny thing. That's why actually I love this. So I love this platform so much, is because I'm talking to people that I know. I'm getting to know them more. They're getting to know me more. But it also gives me a chance to kind of share. You know, I'm by myself most of the time, or just like I have huge friends and such and such. To us, it's
You
generational, but
have
it's
to
like,
almost pretend to be someone else, low key.
yeah, yeah, and it's just like Ricky Allure, all of those kind of different personalities that people know me. That sometimes gets exhausting when you're out and in public and doing stuff, even at work. Like there were times when we talk about the transition of styling to film. There would be times where, and I've told you this, I think like a million times, when we would be at work where I would walk into a space and feel like I had to dim myself. I had to lower myself because I have a huge personality. Granted, yeah, I might not know the correct term for what you're saying, but I know exactly what you're saying. But because I don't know the term, you can use that against me. And then you can use this big personality and
That's
you know what
happened.
I mean? So it's like,
Has that
I,
happened?
huh? Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, it was like the worst, I would say the worst experience for me was Pose. While it was an amazing job, an amazing project, it was like walking on eggshells because I was a part of that community. However,
Yeah.
nobody that I worked with knew that. So I would literally be in the kitchen table talk, if you know what I'm talking about, with all of these people while I'm sitting there like, go, that's my girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'm like sitting there. And I literally watched work flip when they thought that I was just being the show off. They had no idea the the huge person that I am in ballroom. So you're hiring all these ballroom people, and we're walking into the room, me, the designer, and all of us, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Ricky, it's Ricky," and they're like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like, you know what I mean? Like in their mind, almost look like he ain't nobody. But they don't know how fucking big I
Well, you
am
just talk
in
your talk,
this
young man.
community.
Talk your talk.
Well, that's when I did. That's when I pulled up my britches and I pulled up my little strap. But you know what it was? This is what happened. When they found out, everything flipped because it was almost like they felt like they had a spy in the room. Because I knew where the bodies was buried, and it got tricky. And it was like I had to figure out, Rick, who are you going to be when you have to go to work? And excuse me for saying this, but a predominantly white
Just
team.
come in
You know
real
what I
quick.
mean?
That's when
That's a
when
huge
there's
part. I
such a
love them.
great discord and disconnect between the storyteller, who is helping to create to tell the story, who's the crew, to the talent. When
Let me
there's
tell
like a
you,
real disconnect between those two, these are the experiences.
it used to get like it was bad because like Dominique, who plays the show, Dominique's like one of my gay moms. I was raised by her, coming up in clubs, all this kind of stuff. We're on the show, and there would be times when something really unauthentic or something really bad was like going on, and I do not have the position or the liberty to speak up. Talent would literally, Ricky, you know goddamn well we wouldn't XYZ that, and it's just like me being in the room was a safety space for them, but I also had no voice, you know. So then that created a friction with the people that I worked with, because then they started thinking that, and this is, I used to hear this so much, it got on my nerves. Rick is overstepping his boundaries. When I tell you, it would be the most ridiculous thing, because it was almost gaslighting in a way. Because if it's not one thing I am, it's tactful. I know how to keep myself in a room, and I know how to compose myself in a room. I know who is doing what, what's going, when to speak. You know what I mean? All those kinds of things. I would never offer myself into those positions. I would always be pulled in. I would still be mindful in my wording to whomever was saying that. I'd be like, you know, so-and-so is doing an amazing job. But I try to lighten it up, try to back out of the room like, oh my God, get me out of here. And it would still come back because of the exchange. But it really only flipped once they knew I was a part of the community. Because it's just like, I'm right here.
Were there not,
bro, like
a lot of people working through that were a part of community?
No, they had people from the community that they had as consultants. The tricky thing, and I say this really loosely, the tricky thing about like marginalized communities and different things, white people have this tendency to say, show me, how do you teach me? I want to learn. And then as soon as they do, they say, thanks, we got it from here. And they push you out and they do stuff like that. The people that were working on that show, they would go to them for their voice and to keep it authentic and all of that. However, at the end of the day, they're going to do what they feel like they need to do for XYZ. And I think too many times the community had to make that choice. It's like, these are big opportunities, first opportunities for a lot of people. The last thing somebody's going to do is, child, that is not how you, they become yes men and get put in a situation where they are not afforded the opportunity to speak up, because then you get everybody's other favorite word, difficult to work with. And it's just like, it's not difficult, bitch. I'm just telling you that we wouldn't tie our laces twice on a Reebok Classic. That's all it is. You know, it just be little stuff like that, but them not knowing those kind of things would take offense and stuff. But yeah, it's that, whew.
It sounds traumatic.
My trauma.
It sounds traumatic. It sounds
It was traumatic to me. I think that people overuse that word, so don't get me wrong. But in the sense of what I'm saying, in this essence, just talking about that one specific experience, it felt bad that the one time where I could actually, at work, in all of this, be the explosive, amazing, talented person that I could be in full cup, 100%. I literally had to come to work at like 50%.
It makes
sometimes.
me,
you know,
think. So like I'm imagining myself in your shoes, and speaking of the film, it was such a special experience for me because, you know, the storyline is covering a family from the Black American South. References just felt so closely tied to my family. And so just listening to your experience and knowing how much I was so certain I had to contribute to this project, imagining feeling like lessened and like I couldn't be my full self.
That's how I felt at Pose.
That I knew.
That's how I felt at Pose.
Bad.
It's the exact same thing. Like you said, the references were so close to your family. Ballroom is my family. You know what I mean? These are sisters and friends of mine that I've had for 15 to 20 years. And I'm hearing people that I worked with misgender them and being just like, offeringly disrespectful, you know, in that humorous kind of teamster kind of way that we, you know,
humorous. It's just,
it was really a mess. Yeah. It was. And I was just like, because I'm sitting there like, well, you got a job too, you know, do you XYZ? But you know, water under the bridge. It was an interesting situation. And it did shape me though. It really did, because after that, I really did put in the air and into the universe that I wanted to meet and work with more people that were like me. And when I said that out loud, it really started to happen. And when I say like me, I mean people like our similarities of fashion and reference and nuance, and how we'll go to a party. We don't want to be the center of attention, but I'm going to a party. I'm going to dress. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk my shit.
Creatives, storytellers, people that seers.
Yeah,
really, it's seers.
Yeah, and it was like also like with people of color, like I thought it was so important for me to be in more costume rooms with costume designers and teams where, so when we started working together really closely, there is an unspoken language that happens amongst all of us that sometimes a look across the room is the answer you need. Like, there is no per my last email, boo. I ain't gonna do that. Baby, what did you always say? Baby, did you hear my
Did you hear my ass? Did you hear my ass?
Did you hear my ass? Did you hear my ass? That little, that's somebody you know. I could go back and forth with you back. Baby, did you hear my ass? That means, did you hear me? I have other stuff to do. That's your mama talking now. That is unspoken understanding that comes from working with people that are like you. And
it's true.
There's been nothing like it.
And making room for all of the diversity that still exists within us, because we are a lot of cast of characters.
So
we are a lot of different personalities. And it is something, I feel very grateful for our team on Z-Way. I feel very grateful for the opportunity to work on a show that's rooted in such fun, because there's a lot of,
I'm saving
so much
Z-Way for part 2.
There's so much play that we are able to accomplish. And Rick, you know, it is an incredible amount of work. It is an incredible amount of work for what we produce in the time frame that we do it, with the budget that we have. That's not trivial. That's not trivial at all. And so I do feel really grateful for what has grown to feel like a harmony. I know that early on, I did feel a great deal of intimidation with regards to just how we were going to get it all done. Season 1, I mean, the show only continues to grow and their vision continues to grow, which is cool. But season 1, it really did feel like it was a lot to tackle. And just knowing the starting point to where we are now, I just feel proud to be a part.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I was like, the whole second part of the conversation, I was going to dive into like our Z-Way. I wanted people, any of my friends that didn't know you, to kind of get like a background. But yeah, like the Z-Way part of our union is just so, there's just so much to it. It's just so funny. There's so much humor involved. Like you said, there's like, it's this little treehouse of elves that just kick it out every
and we're gonna name names, because yes, costume designer Pamela Shepard, assistant costume designer Maya Pettiford, we give her all of her flowers, because
our
Miss
church
Maya,
girl,
she gets it done. Maya wears me out, and guess what? I wear Maya out. But we get it done. And I'm so grateful for what we have built together.
Maya has to be one of, if not one of the funniest people that I've ever met. Like, I just have to say that off the rip. She's so funny because she's so consistent and simple. Such a church girl, but just like, it's literally Beyonce's own church girl. But after she so is, you know, like how we'll be sitting in the office and like, you know, I'll just be sitting there and like me and Maya, I'll just like, all I have to do is just look over at Maya and just in a gaze at her, and she be like, Rick, don't start. Like,
not today.
And I'll be sitting there like, Maya, I just wanted to bask in like just who you are as a person, like your magic, and she'll just go left. But from that thing, I had got the opportunity to work on other jobs with Maya. And and it was crazy. Like we did Random Acts of Flyness together. And we have two totally, completely opposite shopping styles. Like the way Maya shop, and it's like I learned so much from her, the way that she shops, but I also have my way of shopping. It's like it's so different, but it would just be so funny. Like it was just us in the car tearing down the city. But if you could just imagine, like me and Maya, then she don't want to drive because she has
and all love to her, but she shouldn't. I love my boo. She's gonna laugh really hard when she sees this, but she like really is the peanut butter to my jelly, because I think a part of my superpower is I'm a chief editor. We gonna whittle it down. We're gonna whittle it down. We're gonna whittle it down. And Maya, she's queen of abundance. And there's something about our middle ground that really does reach a very sweet space. First season supervisor, her name was Winsome McCoy, and oh my gosh, that woman, she was mother. So you talk about I'm the mom, whatever. No, it was her, my friend. She really kept us together. She was such an encourager. She was so strict in all the best and necessary ways. She was resourceful. She was brilliant. She was so seasoned at her job. And as a newer designer, there was a lot of help that I got from her. There was a lot of comfort that I got from her. Our second season, Raynice Primrose, who was our...
Come on, Raynice. Come on, big niece.
Who was our part A.
The
rhinestone
princess.
So fab. Nails for days. And able to somehow him all the things. She was really, really talented. Because Raynice is also a costume builder. And so that skill set, where it's still in-house within the actual department, was just such...
Yeah, because that's theater. That's like a theater. That's a big theater back.
Coming from the Metropolitan, she really, really, really was wonderful. And I loved working with her. Alexandra Emmons was our second Part B, season 2, Part B supervisor. We had...
Can I just give you credit to the fact that, Pam, you remember everybody's name. I can remember people's first names. I'm bad with, like, you will literally be like, so-and-so, so-and-so. So I'm like, damn, that's her last name. Like, what? You be really like you remember, even when we talk about how to make love to a black woman. Remember I had to hit you up there. So I was like, what was the lady? You was like, her name was Beth so-and-so. And Whitney. I was like, damn, yeah. This was... You remember everybody's name. I love that.
I mean, these are the people that are getting it done. You know, I have an idea. An idea is worthless if you can't bring it out into the world. And so just to have all of these people that are helping to bring things to life, child, you better remember their names. They're important.
You have to.
They're important.
Yeah.
Costumers. Key costumer. Our lovely Rick Johnson. Such a big help.
It's an insane, it's an insane position. I think that it's a position that varies from job to job. This one happens to be so specific. Like that show and the work that we do is kind of different than like a lot of things that are out right now on television, and hence the requirements are just so different. And I was like so excited because I've been in costume with several projects, but as a key, I literally am responsible for your vision until it's done.
You do it well. I will say, for the parts and pieces of me that just need help to finish. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I know for key costumers, oftentimes the look is set, honey. It is done. Mm-hmm. But again, for the speed that we're moving at, there are times where it's like, Rick, here are the options for jewelry. What you like? Go on and finish that up. Rick, here are the shoes. These are the options. You're gonna just bring it on home. And I appreciate that I can feel comfortable that you're gonna do it and you're gonna do it well. That's not trivial. And I know a lot of designers.
That's a huge trust. They don't. They like not even never. They don't. They don't.
That I am a deeply. I'd like to think of myself as a collaborative person. I'd like to think of myself as a collaborative person.
You are. Because whenever you're talking through your thing, like that's the part too that I'm going to talk to you about. But like when you go through, remember like whenever we start the season off, you be like, so this is what's going on. We're doing these colors, blah, blah, blah. But as you're talking it through, you're like, this might be out. Like it's a might, but it's a conversation. You're not talking to me. You're literally having a conversation with me about what's happened. I'm sharing, like, I love this. Oh, this is like this. You're like, exactly, you get it.
And that's the big part, because I don't know
it
if
is
you
collaborative. It's
remember
very collaborative.
When you were invited for season 2, that was a part of the conversation, how important it is to have people that culturally get it, right? So when it comes to making sure that these final touches are perfect, it's not there were no raisins put in the potato salad. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
100%. You know damn well wasn't gonna be no raisins in that salad.
You get what I'm saying.
I know.
You
I
get what I'm saying.
100% what you're saying.
It's important to feel safe with the people that you're working with. I'm grateful for Chloe, our costumer. I'm grateful for Coach Nathan Coles. I'm grateful for Eddie Bourgeois, our costume PAs. I'm grateful for Audra Gooch, our shopper. Holly, whose last name I'm not remembering, another shopper. And then our dear Carlene Ferguson, whose hand is in many projects because she 1000% is that girl. But really grateful for her when she shopped for us as well. So, and then our coordinator, whose name is James Hanson. James Hanson. So it's about the team.
It is. So look, we're about to take a break so I can save this. We're coming back in 1 minute with the amazing doll that is Pamela Shepard. We're going to talk about what we do over at Z-Way and more about the importance of what Pam does. See y'all back in 2 minutes.